What is the spiritual meaning of skyscrapers in dreams?
Let me tell you about Ayn Rand. This is her story. She fled Russia with absolutely nothing. Nothing but this fire of her own intelligence just burning a hole in her chest. See, she had the cathedral fully built in her mind long before the world even thought about giving her a single brick.
So, she gets to America in 1926. Picture this. She's 21 years old, she doesn't speak English, she has no money, she knows no one, and then she sees them. New York skyscrapers, just piercing the sky. And in that moment, she gets something. Something so visceral, it lodged itself right into her marrow.
And she didn't just admire them. She built an entire philosophy on this single vision. In her novel, The Fountainhead, she didn't just write about skyscrapers. No, she made them sacred. Her hero, Howard Rourke, he didn't build tall because some client told him to. He built tall because for him, building short, well, that would have been spiritual suicide.
And this is what she believed, with every single cell in her body. The height you reach in your life, that is the exact measure of your refusal to shrink. It's that simple. Height is power. Height is self.
But here's the brutal irony. Here's the knife twist. This titan, this tower of a woman, Ayn Rand, she stood up in public and preached the glory of the unbreakable self. But in private, she was hemorrhaging her own sovereignty. She let a man chip away at her very foundation for decades. And that perfect tower she built in her books, it was nothing like the one that was cracking right at the base in her real life.
Okay, so this brings us to you. Because when you dream of a skyscraper, what do you think you're actually being shown? What is it saying about the structure of your own life? And listen, this is not a rhetorical question. I want you to ask yourself, right now, that tower you're building on the outside, your career, your reputation, that perfect image, is it just secretly compensating for an interior that is totally crumbling?
And let's get real about the motive here. Are you dreaming of ascending for yourself? Or are you just dreaming of finally being seen by everyone else? Think about it. What part of you has been just waiting for years to reach that height and finally stop apologizing for taking up space?
You see, to understand this dream, you have to get one thing straight. Your psyche does not waste energy. It just doesn't. Every single image that erupts into your mind when you're asleep is load-bearing. It's holding up something that you have absolutely refused to look at during the day.
In Jungian psychology, the skyscraper is seen as one of the most electrically charged symbols the unconscious can possibly produce. It's called a tower archetype, and it's a direct signal, a symbol of your potential, your drive to be distinct, to stand out.
And this archetype, it's speaking to you in 3 different languages at the exact same time. First, it's the language of the self, the totality of who you are, and more importantly, who you could become. Second, it's the ego's drive, that raw need to rise above the crowd, to actually matter. And third, that's what Jung called the animus. It's your inner force of assertion, of pure ambition, of directional will.
This connects directly to mythology, Joseph Campbell, the guy who literally mapped out the hero's journey, he saw towers as thresholds. A hero doesn't just decide to ascend on a whim. No, she ascends because whatever is going on below has become impossible to survive. The tower shows up in your dreams when your soul knows you have outgrown your current life. It's a signal.
And let me be clear, ignoring this signal, that is not a passive act. It's a declaration of war on your own potential.
So, if you are a woman and you are dreaming of skyscrapers, but you are not currently building something in your life that matches that scale, listen to me. Your unconscious is sounding an alarm. It's not whispering, this is an alarm.
Think of your dream as a dispatch. It's coming from the part of you that has been sitting back, watching you play small, and has finally decided, enough. It's here to interrupt your programming. This is especially true for women, because we're culturally conditioned to suppress that vertical ambition, right? We're taught to be wide and encompassing, but never, ever unapologetically tall. Well, guess what? Your dream is not asking for your permission. It is telling you that something inside of you has already decided to rise.
And the women who ignore these dreams, they don't just disappear. No, it's worse. They become ghosts in their own lives. They spend the rest of their days just haunted by this faint, nagging feeling that they were supposed to be more. They're fully functional on the outside, but completely absent on the inside. That is not living. Let's call it what it is. That's dying slowly, with your eyes wide open.
So look, something inside you has already made the decision to rise. The only question left is whether you will be alive to meet it.
Part 2. Let me be crystal clear. Your dreams, they aren't just background noise. They're a command. And every single time a skyscraper shows up in one, it's a critical signal. Your psyche is issuing a non-negotiable demand for action. So you need to listen, and listen closely.
All right, let's get into it. Stage 1, the call to rise. This is where it all begins. It's that brutal confrontation with your own potential and the struggle just to get started.
First things first, let's get one thing straight. That skyscraper, it's you. Yeah, you. The full, uncompressed version of you. It's your highest self staring down your shadow. That tower, that's everything you could be.
So, you have the dream. You're on the ground, head thrown back, just staring up at this impossible structure. You feel that? That mix of awe and absolute terror? That's your potential staring right back at you. It's a gut check on your belief in yourself. The invitation's been sent. The real question is, are you gonna RSVP?
Okay, so what do? Here's your command. Get specific. Right now, name one area where you're just a spectator, not a player. Your career, your art, just finding your voice, pinpoint it. Now, write down the first, tiniest possible step to get in the game. Don't overthink it. We're not talking about a 5-year plan. I'm talking about the key to unlock the door.
Now the perspective flips. You're not just looking anymore, you're climbing. And listen, this isn't about getting a promotion. This dream is about a deep, psychological ascent. You are in the active process of becoming someone your past self wouldn't even recognize. And that burning feeling you have in the dream? Oh, that's real. Transformation always costs something.
So what's next? Here's the command. You're already on the wall. The dream is just the confirmation. So whatever you do, don't stop now. I want you to look at your daily schedule. Find what's in your way, what's obstructing the climb, and you don't reduce it, you don't manage it, you cut it. Gone. Completely.
Of course, climbing this high, it leads to the crisis dreams. But this isn't about failure. Not at all. This is about structures under threat. It's a necessary demolition job on your old self. And yeah, it's often violent.
Falling, the big one. Dreaming of falling from a skyscraper? That's your psyche hitting the panic button. It's the emergency broadcast system going live. This is not a punishment. It's your ego finally losing its death grip on some false, toxic idea of stability that's been poisoning you. It's a forced release. You're being set free.
So here's the demand. What are you terrified of losing right now? A job title? A relationship? Some fantasy of how your life was supposed to be? The dream is telling you it's already gone. So your command is to grieve it, feel it, and then you land and you stand up.
Then you have the collapse, a skyscraper crumbling. Look, this isn't about some earthquake in the real world. This is your psyche holding up a blueprint of your internal architecture and pointing out the cracks, a belief, a role, an entire identity. It's no longer structurally sound. The foundation is shot.
Your command then? Get ahead of it. Do not wait for the real-life catastrophe to mirror the dream. Identify that shaky structure, that role, that belief, right now, and begin a controlled demolition. Because you have a lot less time than you think.
And what about fire? A skyscraper in flames is never ever just about destruction. It's a violent, purifying transformation. It's a forge. An old ambition, an old identity is being burned away so that something new, something real can rise from the ashes. You have to remember, the fire chooses the phoenix.
So you have to ask yourself, what version of my ambition needs to go up in smoke? What's the goal you inherited from someone else? Your parents, society, a younger, more naive you that just isn't true anymore. Your command is to stop trying to rebuild from that same scorched blueprint. Just let it burn.
All right, let's shift gears. We're going to look at the dreams that are diagnosing your reality right now. This is about the prison and the pinnacle. Ever dream you're trapped inside a skyscraper? The doors are locked, the elevators are dead? You know what that means. Your ambition has curdled. It's become a cage. That impressive job, that picture-perfect life, from the outside, it looks great. But inside, it feels like a slow, quiet death. You have become the beautiful prison.
The command here is simple, but it is not easy. Name it. Name the impressive thing in your life that is also a trap. Go to a mirror and say it out loud to yourself. Because admitting you're in a beautiful prison, that is the only way to take the first step out.
And this is the choice, isn't it? The core contrast. You've got the cage, contained ambition, your persona as a prison, that slow death inside, and then you have the claimed consciousness, your true self at the summit, feeling that rush, that vertigo that comes from seeing everything clearly.
Which brings us to the top. Standing on that pinnacle. You made it. The view is infinite. This dream means you have arrived. You've hit a new level of consciousness, a new peak of capability. But now comes the real test. Do you claim it? Do you own this new height? Or do you shrink back? Because frankly, the power is terrifying.
So here's your final command for this stage. Acknowledge what's ready to be claimed in your life. That next level of mastery. That leadership role you've been avoiding. Your full, unapologetic expression. You must claim it. And not eventually. This week. Now.
But wait, as we get to the end here, there's a critical question we have to ask. Is this ascent only for you?
The answer is no. Because your dreams aren't just about you. They're also giving you the blueprint for what's next. We're talking about the collective horizon.
Okay, let's run through these quickfire. See a skyscraper under construction? That means the new you is being built, so step on the gas. Accelerate. A glass skyscraper? You're becoming too visible to hide anymore. And guess what? That's liberation, not danger. And what if you see a whole skyline? That means your climb isn't solo, it's communal. You're part of a brand new horizon.
And this brings us to the final command. This is for anyone dreaming of a tower lost in the fog, shrouded in uncertainty. Stop waiting for clarity before you commit. The fog doesn't clear while you're standing still. The fog clears through motion. The commitment itself is the fire that burns the fog away. Your final order? Take one irreversible step. Now. Part 3. Okay, so you get it. You understand the dream. You've done the analysis. Great. Now what? Because let's be really clear, understanding without action is worthless. It's just more beautiful furniture in a prison cell.
Look, the practices we're about to cover are not one size fits all. And that's the whole point, right? Because you're not one size fits all. Picking the wrong practice is actually worse than doing nothing at all. So you need to listen, really listen. Find the one that hits you in the gut and use it. The urgency you bring to this might just define everything that comes next.
First up, practices for the mind. This is for the woman who lives in her head. You know who you are, the analyzer, the thinker, the one who processes everything internally. These are your tools.
Well, let's be very clear. This is not your fluffy, feel-good gratitude journal. Think of this as a dedicated, ruthless dream architecture log. Its entire purpose is to capture raw intelligence before your day contaminates it.
The discipline here, that's the whole game. Every single morning, before you even think about touching your phone, before you speak to anyone, you log the dream. You label it with one of the variations from part 2, and then you write 2 very specific sentences. You do this for 30 consecutive days. No exceptions, no days off.
So what are these 2 sentences? Here they are. First, the floor I am currently on in my life is, and you fill that in with brutal honesty. And second, the floor I am being called to reach is, that space you see between them, that gap, that is your life's work. Right there.
And this is why that before your phone rule is absolutely non-negotiable. Every time you wake up and your thumb goes straight to the scroll, you are literally burying the very intelligence that is trying to save you.
All right, next. For the woman who processes by creating. If you're the type who needs to see it to believe it, to build it with your own hands to make it feel real, this is your practice. So here's what you're gonna do. Get a big sheet of paper, draw your skyscraper, label the floors. Health, finances, relationships, creative work, you name it. Then, with a dark marker, you shade in exactly where you are right now. Be brutal, be accurate. Then, in a completely different color, you mark where the dream is telling you to be. That gap isn't failure, that is your floor plan.
And the whole point of this practice is to get this one thing straight. Vague wishing doesn't build a life. Blueprints do, and you have a choice. You are your own architect, or you are someone else's building material. There is no third option.
Okay, let's shift. Practices for the body. This is for the woman who has to move her body to get her mind unstuck. If your best ideas hit you when you're walking or running or just in motion, this one is going to unlock something for you.
This is the vertical anchor practice. You go somewhere high, a rooftop, a parking garage, a hilltop with a view.
Stand at the highest point you can and just breathe. Then, using your actual audible voice, you ask, "What am I afraid to build?" And you speak the answer immediately. No editing, no hesitation. Let the first words out.
And here's why this works. By physically being up high, you bypass your analytical mind. You stop thinking the answer and you start feeling it. Your body already knows what the dream showed you, long before your brain has time to talk you out of it.
Next up, practices for the soul. These are for the woman who thrives on connection, on symbolism, on ritual, to make change actually stick.
This one's for the woman who needs community to commit. It's a simple, incredibly powerful structure built for just 2 people.
Find one other woman who is serious about construction. Just one. Every Sunday, you each text the other a single sentence. "This week, I am building," and you name one specific floor. The next Sunday, you must confirm that floor was built before you are allowed to name a new one. If it wasn't, you name the same floor again. This is accountability with architecture. Simple and strict.
Here's the truth. The thing that kills ambition isn't lack of opportunity. It's isolation. A single witness, just someone who knows what floor you're on, can change the entire trajectory of your life.
And now, for the woman who responds to symbols. If you find power in physical anchors, intangible reminders, this is for you. I want you to find an object, a figurine, a photo, anything that represents the tower to you. Put it on your desk, right in your direct line of sight. And when you feel that doubt, that hesitation, that urge to shrink, you look at the object for 10 full seconds. And you don't say affirmations, you ask a question. Which floor am I on? And what does this floor require of me? Then you act.
And now, for the woman who is ready for the real work. This is the most advanced, the most necessary practice. It is also the one most women will avoid. And that is exactly why you must do it.
In private, with a journal, you answer these questions. Don't flinch. Answer this one first. What kind of woman would I be if I actually built it?
And then this one. Who in my life would have a problem with her? With her existence, her success, her power? Name them.
Now, go deeper. What is the secret, ugly belief you hold about your own worthiness? What part of that success do you believe deep down is not for you?
And finally, the question that demands radical honesty. What lie are you telling yourself? What convenient fiction would you have to give up to actually move in? Most women don't fail because of external forces. They fail because they have never been willing to write down the answers to those 4 questions. You cannot build on a faulty foundation. This shadow work, it's non-negotiable.
So it all comes down to this. After all the analysis, all the practices, this is the only thing that really matters.
The skyscraper in your dream is not waiting for you to be fearless. Fear isn't the obstacle, it's just a passenger. The dream isn't waiting for you to feel ready. It's waiting for you to pick up a tool and start the work, terrified or not.
It's not a question of can you or should you. The only question left is will you.